Okay. This is gonna be like the long, dreaded video that I've promised for like months. I've lost part of it. When I tell you, I dug myself into a rabbit hole with this one. Not just for the video, but just in general. I have like done so much and I still don't think it's accurate. This is probably like I don't have OCD, but the OCD part of me wanting to know every single little detail and every penny. I know for a fact it's not accurate, but this is as good as I can stand for right now. You'll get the picture on how much all of this has cost me. This is not going to be typical for everybody. No two people are the same in IVF. This is just my experience thus far, and I'm not even calculating I'm not incorporating my first round of IVF when I started here in AZ. I'm not even calculating how much that cost, because that would just like involve me digging up old stuff, and I don't feel like it. I've done enough. And you get the picture. This is everything California wise, okay? But I just wanted to start by pointing out the only way that this has been able to work for me is by me, like I said, writing down every detail so that I can organize it in my head. I'm a visual person, so I need to see everything laid out, even if it's scrambled up. I just need to see it on paper or on screen. I will put it together. I will make sense of it. I will keep track of it. This gives me an idea of what life is when I do this. And I do the same thing for my personal finances, although I don't do it every month like I should to make the work easier or less. I just cram everything together every 6 months. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, for me, what I did is I have this spreadsheet with several different tasks, and you'll see that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs in my spreadsheet. And this is basically my mind map. When I first found my clinic or fertility center, I don't know why I always call it a clinic, but you get what I'm saying. When I first found the fertility center in California, and I started getting fireworks in my head and in my heart about me wanting to do this, I had no idea how I was going to do it. I've never done anything like this before. And so I ruminated over this for it's an anniversary, because I hadn't yet moved into my apartment, and I was just I could not stop thinking about this fertility center. So from June is when I had my first consultation phone call, to October is when I finally drove out there and had my first appointment. So what is that? June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. I sat and stewed and planned and tried everything that I could to figure out what was going to be the most cost effective for me to travel from state to state for the treatments. So this is literally my mind map. Actually started this originally back in 2021 when I was starting treatments here in Arizona in Scottsdale, because it was the same idea. I had never done IVF. I didn't know what it was going to cost. We didn't know who we were going to go with as far as doctors. A lot was up in the air. So again, we just wanted to organize our thoughts to where at the time myself and my partner could access the spreadsheet, make changes, add to it, just kind of check in to see where we are. It needed to be digital. So that's kind of where it started. Um, there wasn't really too much to like add or document at that time. So it just kind of like sat for a while, and I would like go back to it occasionally. So I say all that to say this was started previously, but I really put everything into it come um, I started like June, July of 2022, just last year, which is crazy because I feel like I've been doing this forever. It's been 3 years, but I don't know, time is flying. My tabs are just like diagnostics, for instance, is everything that all of my doctors have ever told me that I'm experiencing or that I have, anything that I've been diagnosed with that played a role into my infertility. I just wrote everything down that way. I could easily refer to it, or my partner at the time could refer to it, just in case like one of the medical professionals needed to know like what was going on. Here is a list of all the things that I have. Um, and then I also later on started keeping track of my lab results, my AMH, my FSH, my E2, my LH, and then down the road progesterone and HCG. Um, and I'm still trying to like make heads or tails of the results. I'm trying to see if there's like some sort of pattern, or like I'm just trying to understand the numbers and how they work together. And like I'm kind of, when I think I know what they mean, I'm like totally confused and my body does something else, and I'm like, well, that debunks everything. But I keep track of that just because I'm curious. I want to know if I can point out or identify any kind of correlation between treatments and like me having an astronomically high E2, which is my estrogen. That is like, I won't go into it because this is about cost, but that is like a problem number for me. Also, my FSH is a problem number for me. So, anyways, I keep track of that. I keep track of all my appointments. Times and which location they were at. 99% of the time, I'm going to one city. There might be a rare occasion where I go to their other location in the other city. I won't disclose where. I probably have in some other videos, but anyways. And then I also keep track of my local appointments where like if I just need to go and get like my blood checked, my iron checked, or I don't know, well woman's exams, etc., then I'll put that there too. All of the doctors that have ever treated me for reproductive related things. I also kept track of doctors that I have not seen yet that I was either interested in, or they might be a good follow up or down the road or replacement or whatever. So, past, present, and possibly future doctors and their contact information, I have a tab for that. Cryobanks. I only have a few on here. Believe it or not, California Cryobank has the game sewed up. I mean, they've got it down packed from the usability of the website, to like the I don't want to say inventory, but the selection of donors. They really have it down. There are obviously other cryobanks, sperm banks, egg banks all over the world, but it was just like pulling teeth to kind of get information. A lot of the other banks don't have the diversity, variety, quantity. I mean, so we ended up just going with California Cryobank, and they have been a dream. I have absolutely no qualms with them whatsoever. Love those guys. So I have that tab for the different banks that I just made like profiles for to review the login credentials, because after a while, I'm glad that I did this, because like years later when you need to go back and like report something or like get another vial or whatever it is that you need to do, it's not like you're going into these accounts like every single day or every week or every month even, and so you just kind of forget all of the login credentials. So I just kept them here. I also kept track of all of the donor IDs and their costs that I was interested in, just in case I wanted to go back and revisit that donor, or like the donor that we actually purchased. I have that information here. That way I could quickly refer to it. Like I recently had to do when finding out if there were any more available vials for me to purchase in case I run out. So that was good information to have. I also recorded how much we paid back in 2021, and just to get an idea, like just keep track of everything, because at some point you will need to go back or recall what happened, when, how much, where, and why. So, and then the next tab is just like the additional info. It's simply like whatever notes that I wanted to include, or like highlights from different doctors. I don't really use that too much because I pretty much have it down. But a notes tab might be helpful to have. And then I go over to the cost sheet, which is the whole reason we're here. But before we do that, I'm going to go back or skip ahead and just kind of talk about the rest of the tabs that I have. So aside from costs, I have medications and protocol, which this might be a little bit redundant, considering when you have, like in standard IVF, you have lots of medication and they give you a protocol. Chances are you're going to use that calendar that they have for you, and chances are you're going to put it in your own calendar, and your partner, if you have one, is going to put it in their calendar. So this might be a little redundant. However, I did it at the time, again, to like keep everybody in the loop. So not just in my personal calendar. I have a calendar on my phone. I have a calendar in my planner. I can remember stuff, certain things. So I have it, not just this, but a lot of things just kind of like ingrained. But like maybe your partner needs some help with understanding what day it is, what we're doing, what time, what medicine, especially if they're not the one receiving the medication. So just having something that everybody can come to all at once or in one place is probably going to be really helpful. So if you could forego maybe putting, I don't know, the calendar maybe in your planner, maybe put it in like a spreadsheet and put it in a shared drive or something. That way everybody can access the calendar on their phone or whatever, like whatever works for you. But that's why I initially did it. Here, I kind of removed the old protocol from 2021. And I just kind of put some stuff in, like healthy things, like, okay, I need my vitamins. I need to stay up on vitamin D and like my B12, like the things that my iron, the things that I know that I'm deficient in. I just put that there. Just, I don't know. I don't need a reminder because I know what I'm deficient in and what I should be taking on a daily. But yeah, just like my vitamins. And then not just the vitamins or medication, but also like some natural things that might be able to help, such as like leafy greens, and citrus and fiber for my anemia to kind of help whatever supplement absorb that I'm taking, and then vitamin D. Like, just remember, focus on your like yogurt and egg yolks, and just, little reminders. Do I refer to this all the time? No, I do not, because I just have it in my head what I need to be doing. But again, it helps a community if you would just do this. Tab is like my travel plans. And I think this is like really good, again, for everybody to just be able to go back and refer to. For me, I did extensive, um, what do you call it? Quoting or price shopping for, like, first of all, my thing was, am I going to fly to California every time I have a monitoring appointment or have a um, procedure? Am I going to drive? What airports are in the vicinity of the center? What hotels? Where am I going to stay? How much is it costing? How many miles? What is gas? Like, I needed to know everything so that I could make a fair decision, like a good call on what would be best. But I have to say that the flights were, I really wanted to fly because in my mind, I was going to do my monitoring here locally and have those labs and results sent to California so that they could come up with the treatment plan. And in my mind, I was only going to have to fly out there for the big events like the egg retrieval, like the transfers and stuff like that. But in my mind, I was going to do everything here and send it that way. And we'll talk more about that. Obviously, that didn't happen. And then I also wrote down, like, again, the different hotels that were in the closest to the center, how many miles they were exactly, what their nightly rate was at the time. And rates change, so that's kind of like pointless, but it gave me a ballpark. It's not far from when I initially did this last year compared to now. And then also, like, if I were to drive there, like, how many hours total? Just a lot of this was probably just my anxiety coming out. But I have no regrets. Like, I'm glad that I did this because I got to a point where I could not plan anymore. Like, there was literally nothing else that I could do to convince myself that I should just go. And it literally got to the point where, like, my doctor, I kept asking them questions, and my doctor was like, just come when you're ready. And I was just like, you know what? I've done my due diligence. All there is left to do is make a decision. Am I going or am I not? And so, yeah, that's that. Those are the tabs.